The Fargone Podcast, presented by This Is Coffee. Premium instant coffee meant to be enjoyed outside. Get yours at thisiscoffee.ca. All right. Well, third time's the charm. Episode 3 of the Fargone Podcast. Reece, how's it going?
It's going great.
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, no, it's going pretty sweet. And yeah, heading out chilly tomorrow. So just finishing up the last couple of things of getting packed up, but also got, a text the other day from kind of one of our main staff there for the team. And they're like, well, just keep an eye out though, because I've got a second flight booked too, because apparently Air Canada is thinking about going on strike.
Really?
And that could really, really screw up the situation, but we'll see what happens. Either way, we're pretty fluid and we're gonna make something work. We'll get down there one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, that would definitely throw a wrench in things. I had no idea. What are they striking about? Just probably workers' pension stuff and all those things, eh?
Yeah, probably. Like I've got a buddy who's a pilot, and it's it's just kind of tough. Like getting into it is pretty tough for the amount of money you have to put in to become a pilot. They make you kind of scrape by there for quite a few years before you get a decent wage.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of in the whole aviation world. Like it really seems like you gotta I don't know. I was looking for a little bit just to the helicopter stuff before I started doing what I was doing, and it really seems like a lot of hey, you got to sweep a lot of floors for years until you kind of become buddy buddies, or at least this is how it was explained to me. It was like, okay, you're sweeping floors until you're becoming buddy buddies with the mechanic who will then let you work on his helicopter, and then obviously from there, hopefully then you'll start getting your hours up just from building those relationships and things like that. But it kind of seems like that across the whole aviation world, right? So it's a wild one. It's one I know zero about though. So chilly tomorrow. That's coming up then. So then it's just going to be me, man. Everyone else is heading out. We got Matt up there in the Yukon guiding right now. Have you heard anything from him? I'm excited to kind of hear how the first couple hunts go for him.
Yeah, no, I haven't chatted with Matt yet, but it should be cool. I saw a couple little snippets there, some pictures I think that he had posted on the flight out, but no, yeah. It looks like pretty sweet country. Should be lots of good stories to come back from that trip.
Heck yeah, man. Oh, dude, I love it. So good stuff, dude. Well, things have been busy over here, actually. Last week, dude, went out and do you ever spearfish at all? You ever dabble with that at all?
Not really, although there was one time when I was in grade 8. I was in an outdoor ed program, and we were out on this hiking trip, and we were camped by a lake, and we were kind of walked out on this creek, but it was like a really wide creek, and it was just full of fish. And so I went back and found a tree that had basically like a 3-prong, so it was like a trident. And I basically made a trident with my knife, and I speared a little brook trout right in the head, and then cooked that over top of the fire. So that's my extent of spearfishing, but I've seen a little bit, and I know there's a couple people that are pretty serious about it, but it seems like a pretty cool deal.
Oh, I love it, man. Like years ago, I got experience to or opened my eyes to it when I was living on a White Rock, obviously right on the water there. Or I wasn't on the water, but the town's on the water pretty much. And one of my buddies showed up one day and he bought a jet ski. He was like, yeah, I was at a trade show, and kind of like a spur of the moment type of dude. And he's like, I was at a trade show and got convinced, and all of a sudden came home with this jet ski. And he's like, dude, I've just been watching YouTube. I'm getting into spearfishing. Are you coming or are you not? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm coming. We're both single at the time. We both got nothing else to do. So we were like, I guess we're getting into spearfishing. So dude, it was so much fun, man. We would just go nuts to butts on this jet ski, boot across the strait, and just go into all of these different zones and just learn how to shoot fish and learn the different parts of gear. And we were we were very much YouTube studies, I would say. We didn't know what he did. I think he ended up doing a course or something, but I never did any of that. But it was just more just to figuring it out as you go. And the first couple times, learning the necessary pieces of gear, like dive belts or fins or all these different things. Or the first time we're just hand bombing for crabs and figuring it out. And oh, dude, it's such a blast. But anyways, it's been a couple years since I'll get out like maybe like once or twice every year type of thing. But I got an invite maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, and my buddy just like late at night, he's like, "Hey, parents got an ocean boat. Like we're heading out free diving tomorrow and getting on out." So it was a good start to the week. So headed out and booted around a bunch of the spots kind of out across the strait here. And dude, it's just such a blast, man. But I tell you, the biggest piss off though. So we're like, obviously, first we get out, we have like a different program, and first we're trying to chuck a line in, going after some lingers, and especially like out here, in the free diving or the spearfishing community, like the thing that most of me and my buddies and stuff are going for, it's always like the ling cod. That's like if you're shooting a ling, like that's like then you're happy, right? Like that's always kind of the goal, is that we want to leave and we want to be getting into a linger. So long story short, we get out, boot on out, first chuck a line in, just kind of do that, and we get a couple up, but nothing keepers. And then we're like, okay, well, ain't getting nothing up top, time to get in the water. So we go for a little swim, and dude, we ended up finding quite a few lingers, just nothing shooters. But then we look, and his dad's on the boat. And dude, every single time we'd come up from this dive, and you just see this like rod tip bent on the dad on the boat, just reeling these things in. And yeah, long story short, he filled the cooler, and we didn't see very many shooters. Funny the way that stuff happens though, man. But it's a lot of fun, dude. If you ever have the chance, dude, or next time you're out here, we'll just like even go for like a little like a free dive or something, man. It's special, dude. And I don't think people realize the ecosystem that we have out on like the west coast of British Columbia. Like it is actually insane. Just honestly, it's like people talk about Hawaii or all these things. They think about all the tropical fish and all this stuff. We have such a rich marine ecosystem. And it's like, especially people that I think that are interested in hunting and like the outdoors and all of that stuff. I think if they like spent a little bit more time in the water, they would just have their mind blown by like the amount of animals and sea creatures that are down there. And it feels exactly like hunting in a lot of ways, right? Like obviously you have like the endurance side of it, especially when you're free diving, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, I got to hold my breath for a certain amount, or I got to get deep enough. I have to learn the different things like equalizing and all this different stuff to get down to kind of where like you want to be. And then a lot of times it's almost like similar to call it like still hunting for blacktails, right? Where it's like now you got to like sit and wait, or like you're like slowly approaching and like looking and all these different things. And especially too, man, when you're down there, for the most part, fish are like, if you're not moving like super spastically and all this stuff, fish are pretty curious. So it's pretty awesome, man. It was a great time. And dude, if you're ever down here, dude, we'll get you out into the water. We'll get you in the wetsuit, and we'll get you maybe with the Hawaiian sling or something, and we'll get you shooting a little bit there. So it's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be sweet. Definitely.
Oh, dude, it's a blast. So yeah, man. Hey, any big updates hunting wise since the last time we chatted? Or are you just full chili mode right now?
Well, actually, the other day we did a big trail cam pull.
Oh yeah,
Me and my brother, and we had some pretty cool surprises for sure.
dude. Well, let's get into this. This is getting me real excited. I'm just gonna sip a little bit more of my This Is Coffee, and we'll jump on into the trail cams.
But on it, but like these are two like this is all Jesse's trail cam stuff. I honestly don't really put trail cams out. I just gotta work with him.
Yeah.
And but he also spends way more time around the house. Majority of my hunting trips are out and away, but
Yeah.
starting to see some reasons to maybe hang around the house a little bit more when I come back home. But
Yeah.
yeah,
What are we talking there? Like you guys, I know when I was up in your neck of the woods, man, all I could think about was whitetails. But what are you guys kind of getting into? What are you seeing out there? I know you have muleys, bears, the whole nines up there, right? So
well, we've kind of got like a whitetail spot there, and it's got one buck in there that's something special for sure. For sure. Like I think he's probably this year, it looks like he picked up a couple kickers, and he's a solid like 7x8.
Wow.
And yeah, he's got some potential to be really up there for scoring. And then yeah, I don't know, Jesse just locked himself into just an absolute buck zone. Like we have one trail cam, and this is on like the mule deer side.
Yeah.
We got one trail cam that has like one buck and just tons of does. And then the other trail cam that's a couple kilometers away, it's got only bucks and moose.
Dude, why are you going anywhere else then? Why aren't you just spending some time out there? Like,
yeah, a few guys that Jesse was talking to, they're like, you got to quit your job on that one because it's something special. But no, it's pretty cool to get to get eyes on deer like that, and to kind of remember, like, because I've seen like the good old days around here where guys were pulling some 200-inch deer out of the backcountry, and it's good to see that they're still there. And
definitely.
But also I've been talking with some other guys, and there's a lot of guys, it seems like, around that are getting really good trail cam pics this year and seeing big deer. And seems like that mild winter or late last couple kind of like milder winters have really been helping. But
I also think really there's cool more cameras out there. Yes, like I think more and more guys are getting into it. Like, I don't know, man, like years ago, I would have never even thought to put up a camera unless if I owned like a hunk of land and I was like, oh, I'm going to put it on my back 40 or whatever. Right. But it's like, it feels like now more and more people are getting into the camera stuff, which is pretty awesome. It's sweet. Like I enjoy it. I love seeing the pictures. I wonder in British Columbia, like whitetail's a different story, but like with all these different animals though too, like I wonder like how much it really tells the story on like, okay, hey, if you're picking up, because obviously we can't be running legally, can't be running cameras like during the season, I guess, right? That's the law, or I haven't looked too much into cameras, but there's something like that, right?
Well, I think it's the it's for the cell cams that's like the big thing where you can't have a cell cam that's giving you updates when you're when your camera's on the mountain and stuff like that. So like you're allowed to use cell cams for non-hunting applications.
So then how much of that information that you guys are getting currently are you like, okay, hey, like now we're using this information or where we find this buck and call it like July, August. Like, are you using that like knowledge kind of coming into the season, or what does that kind of look like, or how is it affecting? My question is, how is using the trail cameras affecting like your hunting techniques when it comes to obviously chasing these things in October or whatever, right?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is just kind of giving you an idea of what's out there. And if you do see something like what we're seeing, that gives you like, okay, well, it's probably time to put some time into that zone instead of just
definitely
cruising around doing your own thing, just going on your gut. But like, yeah, when you see bucks like that, you want to try to kind of centralize your efforts and stuff like that. And then, like we're chatting too about kind of like how we can hunt it more effectively in like groups of 2 or whatever, and kind of like spread out stuff, and kind of because the area we're in, it's kind of like still hunting, or like basically walk a little bit, stop, glass, look, walk a little bit, stop, glass, look, and you can still see long ways, but it's not really in a great spot for like a removed glassing location like some guys like to do. It just doesn't really have that option. So, which is tricky, but it's also kind of cool because if you're going to hunt it, you just have to get in the red zone pretty much and just make it happen. And if anything does happen, it'll be quick.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But like I think pretty much it's just like you're just looking for what's out in the backcountry. And if you're not seeing stuff, well then, you're probably looking in the wrong places. Or if you are seeing stuff, then you're probably looking in the right places, and you can judge and plan out your hunting season based on that kind of stuff. And then also like, depending on where you are, if you have point restrictions, then that's a big indicator too. Like, if you're looking for 6-point bull elk and you haven't seen a single 6-point all summer and stuff like that, then you probably need to replan your
pick up and move,
right? For sure. But
no, it's a great point. And like I said, I haven't messed too much around with the cameras. I've been enjoying them. Like just my parents they have like 10 acres and I've been enjoying playing around there, and also kind of use them as security more than anything. But it's fun, man. It's fun. Like just seeing those bucks that are out there and being like, okay, like, hey, these ones like come back time after time and time after time. Right. but it's one of those things where I find it addicting at the same time. It's so like when you set up a camera, you're always just like, I don't know, I was checking that thing way too much, right? And especially in the off season, I have a couple like cell cameras that'll like run throughout the summer, and it's just like, oh, you get that notification. Well, frick, man, dude, my wife was giving birth, and it was like in between the times of like her pushing or whatever, and it's like it was a long birth, and it was like relaxed and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm getting like cell cam notifications on my phone. I'm like, okay, just quickly see what's happening there. It's addicting, man. It's like, it is cool to see what's walking by. I always am curious though, to hear like guys that like are running it maybe on public land or all of these different things, right? And being like, okay, hey, how does it really change your hunting methods? Obviously, I just always think too, I'm like, hey, there was a reason you put that camera up in that zone in the first place, right? Either you were seeing a lot of sign, you were seeing trails, you were seeing all these different things, right? And that's obviously what made you into the purpose to being like, okay, this is a great spot for a camera, and let's just kind of like see what's out there type of thing, right? So, but I always get interested to be like, okay, is that really changing? Were you going to hunt that zone in the first place, and then you just put a camera up there, and then it's just like kind of cool, or is it like actually like dictating your decisions? And he brought up a great point in regards to like the 6-point elks and stuff like that. I haven't really thought of it as that kind of perspective, but that's kind of always been my view on cameras. It's an interesting one. I just find it fun. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's fun. Like it's both. Like sometimes you have like your zones that you hunt lots and you just want to see what's cruising around, and it's cool. You know, it's cool to see what's going on when you're not there. And then also, you know, like kind of for this spot, it was more of like we kind of looked for, we're looking for like lower traffic areas, like lower human traffic areas, and just seeing if they're if they're like a potential for holding deer. And we've definitely struck out lots of times doing that. I've been like stuck a camera there all summer, and it's like, yeah, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
This one seems to be working out, and we put salt down and stuff like that, and to see if
it attracts
see what's coming in,
pulls it in,
and yeah, no, it's just cool to see them, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
Also, too, like if like there was a rule change and you couldn't have them, like I think that's fine too. Like I could see that happening, just because. But it is pretty cool to be able to see what's going on and what's moving around out in the backcountry. And I think it's also a great tool for conservation, stuff like that. Obviously, they use it extensively, but yeah, no, definitely a cool, fun things to get you excited for the hunting season for sure.
That's kind of where I feel like I've always found myself with it. It's like, if anything, like it gets me just stoked, just knowing that things are out there, or all these different things, right? To be like, oh, like those deer are out there. They're in the zones I'm hunting in. Like it's getting me like fired up to like continue to go back there and continue to obviously put the effort in. So, like I said, man, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but I always am curious to be like, okay, how does it dictate? How does it dictate here? And I think it's just because, I don't know, like working with like on the film side of things and working with a lot of US companies and hearing, I guess like the whole whitetail world, which I don't think is as popular here in British Columbia. Like the way that it's like, it's people's lives in the States, man. Like you chat with some dudes and it's like, yeah, I'm a freaking whitetail hunter. I got a whitetail tattoo on my right bicep. And you know what? We're buying like plots of land just for this, just for the reason of hunting. And it's like, dude, you look down, there's freaking real estate agents that are just like hunting real estate agents. It's wild. And I just think that it's so different from the mindset for the most part of what we've had in British, or at least what I've grown up in. Maybe it's a different people's experience that they've experienced that. But it's just wild, man. And I'm like, okay, is it a slippery slope that we're going to start getting into like that full core buying up land, whitetail kind of mindset? Like, do the cameras, like, are they the start of that, you know? Especially as I have seen, like I said, I got a lot of buddies that 3-4 years ago weren't running cameras. And now it seems like everyone under the sun's running cameras, right? So it's like, okay, now it's like we're starting to like jump into that slope. So obviously the terrain obviously dictates our type of hunting regardless, but it is interesting. It is interesting. And I just see that. And I always associate cameras, okay, you're talking dudes in like Iowa that have like 75 cameras all over their property, and I'm getting excited about my like 2 trail cameras that I have up, so.
No, for sure. And I think like location is everything when it comes to that kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
obviously in BC there are guys that are pretty serious about whitetails for sure, or very
Definitely.
serious. And but yeah, it's kind of like definitely not the same. Just because I think opportunity, like we have just opportunity for so much other animals,
So true.
and then also just the like a lot of these properties too, like wouldn't really be usable like rifle wise, in my opinion. Like I know lots of people they hunt around the cities down in the states and stuff like that, and because it's bow only zones and stuff like that. But every once in a while, like you meet some guys out in BC that they get after it big time with the
Yeah.
whitetails and stuff like that. But like you definitely see it out in Alberta and Saskatchewan for sure, and then out east, like
Mhm.
out in around in Ontario and stuff like that. Like the turkey hunting is huge there too, and then and same as the whitetails.
Yeah.
Guys are pretty serious about that. Um, but yeah, it seems like just the like the guys that would have that bug end up kind of getting the mountain bug when
Yeah.
they're out in BC, just because what we have available to us. But yeah, no, it's definitely there's some serious guys out there. But the biggest thing I've seen out here still is like the elk bug. That's the one you want to try to at least contain a little bit, because I've seen what it can do to guys, and it's pretty wild.
Dude, it's freaking addicting, man. Dude, that bug just kind of grabs. Like, I don't know, Justin took myself out on my first elk hunt like 3-4 years ago now, and it's like it's crazy how it just takes over your whole mind. It's like those are like the two things that I think about all year is like elk hunting for the most part, and then like still water, like ice off fishing. It's like those are the two things that are like just pulling my mind, and it's crazy how you get those kind of like, yeah, those little things just do it for you. So just the thought of a bugling bull like 20 yards away or doing whatever, right? It's pretty special. But and like we talked about a couple podcasts ago too, like obviously the same thing kind of goes with mountain hunting too, right? Where as soon as you start getting after those sheep, like it seems like you and Matt have really gotten that bug, right? So it's funny how like we all gravitate towards these different types of hunting, and no one's better than the other, right? It's just kind of whatever tickles your fancy at the end of the day. So, and that's what I think is also incredible about British Columbia, and I continue to get my eyes open to just the amount of opportunity we have out here. And like I said, even down to like the fishing side of thing, like the spear fishing or all this different stuff, we have so much marine based opportunities, obviously in the ocean, obviously in the lakes and in our rivers, and then obviously coming on over on the hunting side of things too. Man, the amount of different species that we can go chase pretty much from, call it like halfway through August or whatever, obviously till pretty much December, or you have some waterfowl and stuff that bumps back there a little bit too. It's absolutely wild, man. And it's and you kind of you can, that's the best thing is you can take your little pick of whatever you're into. You a waterfowl hunter, go shoot freaking waterfowl, like knock your socks off. Like there's plenty for everybody. Go and do it. And then hey, you know what? And then hey, if you're a whitetail guy, I haven't met very many of you here in BC, but if you are, you can do that whole thing. Run your cameras, do the whole do the whole nines.
For sure. Yeah, I know it's funny. Like I I kind of lost my thought there for a second, but yeah, no, I guess I kind of lost my thought there. Anyway, go
Oh yeah,
continue.
whitetail hunting. We're talking whitetail, different opportunities in British Columbia. We getting back there?
Um, I think I was just want to talk about like how with BC just okay, that's what I wanted to say. Like I think the funny thing that always kind of makes me crack a grin is, which seems wild just because of where I grew up and stuff like that, is like that there's like guided black bear hunts, because we have so many black bears in British Columbia, and I'm like guys are coming all the way up here to hunt these things, and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Like I know lots of guys that's the first thing that they take when they
Yeah,
get into hunting is a black bear.
100%.
And yeah, it's pretty wild for sure. But we also have some really cool opportunities to hunt and you can do it a lot of different ways. Like you can do like the early season road hunting deal where you're just
Hmm.
freaking roads looking for them going out on the green shoulders,
Yeah,
or you can go and get them way up high in the alpine in like the berry patches, or even sorry just on grass like
yeah,
in the spring on those big slides. And then in the fall, if you're serious, you can go hunt them in the blueberry patches and stuff like that, and that's awesome too. And then up north, out in like the oat fields and stuff like that, tons of bears out there. But
yeah.
yeah, no, it's pretty wild for sure.
Dude, that's like what really I think hooked me on hunting in itself. Not that I was just packing out for different people, but it was exactly that fall, high alpine, like berry patches, and just like getting into some berry bears and doing that whole thing. And it's special, man. Like there's a lot of fun there. A lot of fun to be had. Obviously, I don't know. The black bear thing is interesting. Just we have so many different opportunities. And I also think that it's a species that people like kind of get wowed on if you're not from British Columbia. Or if you're not from like a spot where you have them, right? Like I have a buddy from Florida that comes up every once in a while, and always the first thing is like, "Oh, are there bears here?" Like, "Oh my gosh, like there's like black bears, like that's crazy," you know? And you're like, "Well, go up north. There's a couple grizzlies there too." So
Yeah.
you can kind of do the whole thing. But I think the bears are just so fascinating by people, whether it be marketing or people always talk about Yogi Bear and all these different things throughout time that make people fascinated by bears. But especially on the hunting opportunity side, man, it's wild, and there's plenty of them, and they're a lot of fun. So, and it's interesting, man. Like, I remember chatting with a couple guys from the States, or I was on like the Fair Chase podcast and things like that, and they brought it up. They're like, we've never seen so many bears as you do in British Columbia. And it just feels like it's a way of life up here, right? Is you just see these things running around. At least for myself, yes, that was the thing, like just being a pack mule that really got me introduced to like the whole backpacking side of hunting and being able to do that and doing a couple day trip and all of everything along those lines. But I never had much of an interest in taking them because I felt like they were so plentiful, where I'm like, man, there is so many bears around. Why would I take one? I'm like, I'm seeing like 20 bears to one deer. So I'm like, okay, like the deer is where the real challenge is, right? But it's a lot of fun, man. This year we actually did I tell you that we did like a sailing bear trip?
Yeah, you did mention that, and that sounded pretty sweet.
Oh, dude, that was epic. That was like my first time ever like hunting bears coastal. And dude, I think I just always hear a bunch of guys saying, "Oh, obviously that's in kind of the springtime. That's the thing, right? Go and hunt bears in the water and all that stuff." And long story short, ended up a buddy. We were just trying to plan some sort of trip, figure out the classic route, whether it be a jet boat or something else, or even just kind of like playing like the different inlets that you'd get kind of on the ocean. And obviously had our zone picked out. And then long story short, my buddy's like, well, I actually got a sailboat that we can just like all sleep on. Why don't we just go and sail it and see if we can kind of like make that whole thing happen, right? So ended up pulling out two bears from that trip, and that was a great time too, man. But it's just another way, another opportunity at British Columbia that honestly a couple years ago, like I didn't, and I think it's just becoming into a hype piece of all the opportunities we have in PC. But it's I don't know, man. I wasn't even thinking about it a couple of years ago, and here we are, like hunting bears now coastal, right? So a lot of different things that you can have going on. So
Yeah, for sure. Like, what did that sailing trip look like? Like, were you hunting it like Alaskan black bear style, like what you see out there, or were you like basically like going to the shore, then hiking up into like the cuts and stuff like that?
yeah, so we tried a couple different methods. We didn't have time just with the sailboat. It's a lot slower, right? So we didn't have time to like boot way up to like where you typically would go if you're trying to go after like a big stonker, and especially too like within the bear world, right? Like you want those big, or at least what I've learned from chatting with guys in regards to the coastal bears is you want those big like tidal inflections, right? Like going up and going down, because then obviously when it goes down, then the bears like pretty much jump on out into the shorelines and do all of this. The zone where we were going, because we were limited by the sailboat, was we pretty much just didn't, we were like, okay, we don't have those tidal like inflections that we do if we were going up north or something. So we were originally started doing exactly what you're saying. We would take our little dinghy and we would obviously sail into different zones and do the whole thing when the wind was good, and then kind of like found like, call it base camp, where we would obviously moor the sailboat and pretty much live off of the thing. And then we had little dinghies that we would go. And kind of where we were, there was like 2 or 3 different valleys that we could get into. And there was a couple like old cuts up there that we essentially, the first couple days, we just put the miles on, went way up. And honestly, man, we saw like 0 sign. Like here's like little things here and there, but that was our game plan coming into it. It was like, okay, hey, like we're gonna like hunt them up in the mountains, typically like we would, like what we're used to out in the Chilliwack area. We'll get them on up there and gain a couple elevation. And like I said, we just weren't seeing the sign. And then what we noticed was lower and lower. Even in like, call it 30 feet off of kind of the water line, we were just seeing so much sign. So then obviously we just kind of switched our mindset like day 2 and day 3 into kind of that more traditional way of looking at those coastal hunts. And that's eventually how we got them. So first thing, my buddy Matt ended up pulling his arrow back on one and got like a real nice guy. And then I want to say like day 3 or day 4, I ended up getting into mine, which was a lot of fun too. So long story short, we're just kind of booting up the coastline, making our way back to the sailboat. And then like, obviously you pull up your binos and do the whole thing. And I'm just kind of glassing from the boat. And I just see like underneath a little brush, like a little black thing essentially. And I'm like, oh, there's a bear. Like he's about 2.5 kilometers out. Like it was a ways. So then boot on up, and there was like maybe 3 little bays that we could get into. And then up top was like this high kind of forest line. And it was quite steep. So long story short, ended up coming on in, and our wind was good. It was blowing back the whole ways, and ended up coming up, pulling up into like that 3rd bay type of thing, call it bay number 3, and just popped the boat there, and then ended up like hiking way up into kind of like that clear walking zone, and just snuck my way up. And lo and behold, I ended up realizing that there was like a river that came right down into the ocean, and that's right where the guy was hanging. So just kind of came up and ended up finding a couple game trails, and like kind of snuck my way down and was trying to look, and like, oh my gosh, I can't see anything. Where is this? And the issue is that they had a bunch of like, he was pretty much like on like the steeps, and there was like a foliage kind of thing that was overhanging. So I'm like looking, and I go, this is exactly where the bear is. Like I had like my mental markers, and it was like by that big cedar, that's where the bear is, right? But obviously, like I said, we're making our way up, and I come down, and I'm like, okay, there's a cedar. Where is this thing? I can't find it anywhere. And they had all this overhanging foliage, and I'm just glassing. I'm actually glassing the water, and I end up seeing what pretty much looks like tail feathers. Like that's exactly what I thought. I was like, whoa, that's a big bird. Like, cause it was just, I saw the tiniest little bit, and it just looked like water swiping up like against feathers, what you would think of type of thing. Right. And long story short, obviously went down a little bit and realized that it was the bear, and was able to sneak down on a lower shelf, and obviously got him at, I think it was like, honestly, it was 21 yards with the bow. So pretty happy with that, and just dropped him right away. But then I had another thing where I dropped him, and he was just eating barnacles on the side of this kind of like cliffy, or not cliff thing, but like kind of like this steep, right? And then he drops in the water, and I'm like, oh frick, like, okay, now I got to go and get back into him and like make sure, like, am I going for a swim here? And luckily I just kind of shot him right through the heart, which is where I was hoping to. But I was worried, like, okay, if I got right into the lungs or all of this stuff, right? Like then that air is going to like dissipate. And then long story short, it's pretty deep. So I'd be swimming real deep trying to get after that thing. And luckily, I just kind of kept eyes on it, and I had a cameraman with me. So I told him, like, just sprint back, grab the boat. I'm going to keep eyes on the bear. And if he goes down, I'm jumping in the water and doing the whole thing. And long story short, ended up getting the boat there, pulled them up, and Bob's your uncle. So that was the coastal trip, man. It was a lot of fun. And I think the most special part about it, though, is just all of the different activities that you can get up to. like on the sailboat. Obviously you have the sailing side of it. But also for us too, man, like I said, obviously I love spearfishing. So every day it was like, okay, wake up. And we took it pretty relaxed. We're sleeping in a little bit. And I had a fresh kiddo at home. So it was nice to have I was actually getting a little bit of sleep on this trip, and was able to wake up, sleep in a little bit, make a nice breakfast, go for a dive in the morning type of thing. And then, obviously afternoons kind of like just spent hunting, and we ended up pulling out 2 bears. And it's cool though, man. Like on day 3, especially on Mass Bear, he got a nice guy. And just like hung him from the mast of the sailboat, and like swung him out and all of this stuff, just let him dry out. And it felt surreal, dude. It genuinely felt surreal. So I was in love with that experience. I want to do it every year.
For sure. That sounds pretty cool.
Have you ever done the coastal bear thing at all, or?
No, and like honestly, I wanted to ask you because like I have heard a lot of not overly positive reviews on meat quality coming from coastal black bears, and I wanted to ask you what if you had tried those bears yet, and what your thoughts were.
Yeah, no, we've tried them. We eat them quite a bit. It's at the top of the freezer, so it's always the first piece of meat that we're pulling out right now. I was really nervous about that. I've chatted with a lot of guys previously, and they're like the same thing. They're like, "Yeah, you cut it open, and there's all this stuff," and that's why previously that's actually what prevented us from doing these coastal trips was the meat quality. And obviously everything, like I said previously, all we do is eat game meat in our household. So if I'm going to spend those days, and in that spring season, if it's going to be a negative to shoot something on the coast, why wouldn't I just go and do it kind of in the Alpine or something like that, where I know I can get into a berry patch or something, right? So that's always prevented me. But these bears, man, they were great. Like there was no worms, there was no nothing that you would expect out of that. And they don't have that fishy taste that everyone has kind of told us about. I don't know if it's just the zone that we were in, and also too, like I mentioned previously, where we didn't have those huge, massive, like 10-foot tides type of thing. Like it was very, very, very minimal. And even in their poo and stuff, it was mostly like shells and stuff like that we were finding. So I don't know if that played into it. Like I don't know if you head up north and you get into like those big ones, and maybe that's where a lot of the stories that I've chatted with other guys, where they're getting like, hey, different things in the meat, or the meat stinks, or all of this different stuff. It's like I don't know if they're getting that because of the high tides and then the low tides, and then they're eating like way more like marine vegetation. I have no idea, but I can tell you for a fact that the meat that we got, like it was great. Like it was comparable to maybe not the ones that we're getting in the berry patches, but definitely the ones that we're getting like in higher elevations for sure.
Okay, well that makes sense. And that's good to hear for sure. I bet you there's a lot that comes from when it comes to like the fishy taste and stuff like that. I bet you a lot of that comes from guys harvesting fall bears.
Yeah,
during like the salmon runs and stuff like that, when they're eating rotten fish and stuff like that. Because like in the spring, they're not eating salmon in the spring because they ain't salmon on a beach, and they're not running the rivers and stuff like that. So I would assume that probably comes from guys eating bears when they're really easy to see, because they're all on the banks of the river eating dead salmon and stuff like that. And it's easy to find big fat bears that are really that have really good coats, because they're just sitting there eating, and they got that nice fall coat, and then they harvest this massive bear, and then it tastes like fish, because that's all it's been eaten the last month. But no, that definitely a positive, definitely to hear that, because I was curious about that for sure.
Yeah, I also wonder like what the validity is to yeah, there obviously is some validity to it, like on like, because you can smell it and you can have these different things too. But like so much of meat and meat care, and you even talk about like a deer or an elk or all this stuff too, and the gaminess, right? It's like it's wild. I just think like meat care obviously in the field is huge, but then also in regards to the way that you're cooking it too, right? Like I don't know how much it changes. Maybe there is validity to the fact like, oh, this fish has been eating salmon and then it's doing all of that. But I don't know. Like I wonder too if it really does have to do with a lot more of like the care side of things. If you have worms and all this stuff, that's a completely different story. Totally understand that everything coming from that, like obviously there's different diseases, all this stuff that get into the meat, but strictly in regards to like the gaminess and all that, maybe that's a different topic for a different day. But I think so much of that has to do with like meat care and also learning how to like cook your game meat, man. Like I don't know, like get like a one of the best cooking tips I ever got from a buddy was get a meat thermometer. Like so many people get game meat and then they like cook it to crap because they're nervous about it or whatever. Like it's foreign, I should say. And then they're like, oh, I gotta make sure this thing's cooked right freaking through and like do all of this stuff. And then they overcook it and then it's dry and then everyone hates it. And your wife's like, why the heck are you going hunting? Because the meat sucks. Where it's like, hey, get a freaking meat thermometer, get your temperatures dialed, like even at the bare minimum, if you're just grilling steaks with salt and pepper, right? Like obviously you can get into all these different meals that now you're getting me excited because I love cooking and I love eating. So it's like now you can get into those different things. But I don't know, man. It's like if you can just learn how to get those different things. I don't know if it's making that much of a difference between a berry bear and maybe something on the coast, or obviously, like I said, worms and stuff's a different conversation. But
Well, I think you're 100% right there. Like meat care is definitely everything. And like I'm pretty fortunate. I know like just growing up with my family, we always had really good meat care.
yeah,
And then also I definitely remember being a kid and taking deer to the butcher, and guys are showing up there with deer that are a day or two old with the hide still on from a Soyuz,
yeah,
and they're in the Fraser Valley and they got that thing dropped off and the meat looks black,
yeah,
and you wonder why it tastes like crap, right? And so,
exactly.
yeah, I think like the biggest thing is getting that meat cooled off as quickly as possible. Whether that's if you're a guy that likes to just gut your animals first, then pull the hide off, or if you're a gutless method guy,
Yeah,
either way, as quick as you can get that meat cooled, the better, and then stay cooled. And I think that's huge. And then you're 100% right with the meat thermometer thing, and I probably should get one of those, or if I do have one, I'll have to root around and make sure I use it because I don't. But yeah, no, it's like that's for sure is a big part of it. And then also like doing all the right things, letting the meat rest at room temperature,
yeah,
marinating it, all that good stuff. Like that makes a huge difference. And but yeah, no, the meat care is a big, substantial one that not everybody learns the right way, in my opinion, on how to do it. And then you show them what you're supposed to do, and they're like, "Holy crap, this is unreal!" Like there's no reason that deer meat although that being said, like I definitely understand that putting down big rutted up muley bucks, you're going to pay for it a little bit. They're not going to taste nearly as good, but they're definitely still edible for the
yeah.
most part, for sure, as long as you do the right stuff. But yeah, meat care is a big one for sure. That isn't the same across the board.
Yeah, meat care and cooking, like I said, man, like I don't know, like and even what I was mentioning earlier, like I never really went out. I would help pack mule on a lot of bear trips previously, but I would never like have the ambition to take a bear because there was always this mindset that like, hey, bear meat sucks. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's like the meat that you would donate. That was always my buddies would say, like, everything else you're keeping, but like you got to have, if you're going to go out bear hunting, you got to know who you're donating that meat to, because obviously you're only going to shoot stuff if it's like if the meat's getting eaten, like that's first and foremost. But then it's like, but hey, if they don't want to eat it, then they got to find someone to donate that before you go hunting. And it's wild though, man. Like, and then I started hanging out with some buddies that like knew how to cook, and they're like, dude, bear meat is our favorite type of meat. They're like, we used to go out for a deer, we used to go out for elk and all this stuff. Now they're just like, we just make sure we get our limit of bear every year. They're like, that's like our number one. And as soon as that's checked off, then everything else kind of comes into play after. Cause they're like, man, like it's their favorite. And dude, they've cooked us some meals with this stuff. And it's incredible. Like really, if you know what you're doing. But at the same time, obviously with bears especially, everyone's worried about trig and all this different stuff. They're like, oh, I gotta cook that thing to crap. but with a freaking meat thermometer or something, hey, you might feel like less of a man because you don't got your 4 minutes on the Barbie on each side or all this crap, right? But it's like, dude, it makes a world of a difference. And also, I think more than anything, and this is a hot take for you, dude. Like I said, in my household, like all we eat is game meat. For last, like, we can't remember the last time we bought anything other than chicken in like the last 4 or 5 years. And now because of that, dude, my wife is like pushing me to have more hunting days because she's like, dude, you got to fill the freezer a little bit more here. So if you're trying to get more hunting days with your wife, I think learning how to cook your meat properly, maybe a suck up the man card, get a meat thermometer, and learn a couple recipes, and then who knows, wife might be pushing you out for a couple more hunting days this next year.
Far from a bad idea, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. So speaking of meat care and stuff, Reece, like what is kind of your program? Like what are you doing? Even like gutting and stuff, are you or is it all dependent on where you're at or where you're shooting that animal? But are you mostly going gutless? Or you what's kind of your program?
Yeah, I kind of do it all really. Like I grew up being a guy that just pulls the guts out first. And that was just based on the style of hunting we were doing. Usually we were in somewhat of dragging distance of the truck.
Yeah.
And then once I kind of started to do like the bigger trips, the more mountain trips, I went to gutless. And but it also kind of depends too, like if I do know that I have like a shot placement that's a little back, I like to go gutless just to keep everything in there instead of opening up that can of worms. And because like sure, you might have like, typically what happens for what I've seen is like if you get like a back like a far back shot where you get into the gut bag or something, the animal's going to be laying on its side. And so with that, you'll end up losing one half of the ribs, but the other half that is on the high side is usually salvageable.
Yeah.
Versus like, I guess you could try and gut it out there, but then you're pulling the basically ruptured guts or intestines over top of, potentially pretty good meat. But it just kind of depends, like size wise too, like moose always gutless.
Yeah.
Just because too, like, unless you're in a really, sometimes if it's really steep, I'll gut them just because if I pull the guts out, they're just like gone down the mountain. But if it's flat ground, I go gutless because then you end up just walking in the guts because you can't get them out of there.
And on a moose, you're sitting there for a little bit of time while you're dealing with that thing.
Yeah, and but that being said, like pulling the guts out is nice for like the weight reduction, because once you have like a half of a side of the moose gone, you can flip that thing and move it around a lot easier. And it does cool down a lot of stuff really quick. Yeah. So honestly, I do both. And then also like sometimes, it's nice to leave the hide on if you are dragging stuff out.
Yeah.
And I've also even done, like, I've had a moose that we went and quartered out the moose, but we left the hide on the quarters. Oh, yeah. And then we basically, there was snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And so there was 4 of us, and we pulled an entire moose out in one go with 4 guys with meat on the bone still for all the quarters. By basically, we had heavy packs, and then we were towing with a piece of rope because it was downhill, a quarter with the hide on down this closed off road and stuff like that. But yeah, so like, I kind of do it all really. Like it, like I guess like the last bear that I took down, it was really hot, like 33 degrees in June.
Yeah.
And so that one, I pulled the guts out quick because I knew it was going to almost take too long to do everything else.
Exactly.
And so pulled the guts out, got in the back of the truck, and then drove to the first gas station, threw a whole bunch of ice in there.
Yeah.
And then went to Jesse's place, and then we got that thing all cut off and stuff like that. And I bet you I was about half an hour away from ruining that meat. Like it was all it was good, but it was tricky just because it was so hot. But that's just a a hard thing to do. And that's kind of just when you're by yourself too. Like if there was two guys, we probably would have done some stuff, but this was a really big bear.
Yeah.
And like it was all I could do to get him in the back of my pickup.
Yeah.
All I could do, gutted.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
like, lift up his front end, lean it on there, then slowly just like working my way down and moving him across. And, and I deadlift 450 pounds. And this thing was brutal to get in the back of the truck.
So you're saying it was a 450?
It was heavy. It was heavy without guts. I tell you what.
We pushing PRs on this bear here, or
no,
how's that working?
It sure felt like it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, dead weight is something special for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it really is. It really is. Dude, well, now that we're kind of going back a little bit here, but you really you got me intrigued. What's some of your favorite recipes? Like, let's say you have a deer in the freezer, keep it real basic. What's kind of some of your go-tos, and how do you like prepare that meat, and how are you guys cooking it up around the table for a family dinner?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely on the simpler side.
Yeah.
But honestly, the best meat I've ever had is in the backcountry for sure. Yeah. Like sheep steaks with some Montreal steak spice on the fire, cooked over an open flame. It is really hard to beat that for sure.
Definitely.
But I do.
But is it because the meat's that good, or is it because of the experience?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. Definitely. I think it's also sweet to get the opportunity to eat meat that's never been frozen.
Exactly.
That's pretty nice too. Then growing up for sure, like my mom we did tons of like crock pot roasts. That's huge for us. And then like my mom has a really good bear lasagna recipe that I remember having as a kid for sure. And that was good. And it was funny. We were down in Salt Lake City at World Champs, and mom and dad came down to watch the races. And she actually brought down 2 bear lasagnas and fed the whole team.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and she's like, so do you guys know what kind of meat this is? And they're like, oh, and everybody's like, this is really, really good. And they're just like, yeah, it's bear meat, black bear meat. And everybody was okay with it, but they were definitely surprised. And it's pretty good. But honestly, for me, pretty simple. And then there's also like, I remember I do have I really like a bacon wrap like deer tenderloin.
Oh yeah.
Or elk tenderloin. That's a really good one for sure that I like to do. But honestly, like I've got a lot of room to improve my game culinary experiences for sure. But
you still got time too.
Yeah.
You got all this season.
For sure.
Oh, I love it, man. Yeah, those backcountry meals are special, dude. I remember like a couple years ago, we just while we were filming Subsistence, actually. So that would have been like 3 years ago. And anyways, it was on that double elk day, and we were just so exhausted after it. And long story short, ended up just like same thing, big old bonfire. And we like cooked, sliced the heart up real nice and cooked the heart over the fire, and also just like a rack of ribs. And dude, it was special, man. Like no special sauces. I think same thing, probably just like Montreal steak spice or just something super easy kind of in the backcountry, and just went from there. But dude, it was a special meal. Looking back, I'm like, I don't know if the meal was like that insane. It's just more the fact of everything. It's like, hey, we just got 2 bull elk down. We just finally hiked them out, finally got them back to camp. Everything's strung up. And now it's like this like hurrah of like, okay, now we're cooking up the heart, and we're cooking up a rack of ribs, and we're just like having a feast in whatever way. And dude, that's so special, man. It's so special.
For sure. Yeah, actually, looking back, I actually did do something kind of fancy this year, last fall, which was kind of cool. We were out on a October sheep hunt out in the Kootenays.
Yeah.
And we had found this cabin, and it had a wood cook stove in it. And so
You
we were
showed
out.
me pictures of this cabin.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and so we were out there, and I got two grouse with one of my game getters for my
Yeah.
300, and brought back the grouse. And the cabin had kind of like been abandoned
Yeah.
about in 2008. Like, you used to be able to drive into that zone, and then 2008, basically
Yeah.
nothing else happened. Like, everything in that cat stopped at 2008. It's pretty wild. Like, there's a '07, '08 synopsis in there. All
Sweet.
like the food, there's like canned food and stuff. It's all from like 2008, and that's it. And they even have like a magazine, like a hunting magazine, and that's when it's from too.
Hmm.
And so it was kind of cool. So basically, what I did was like, yeah, took the two grouse and um, marinated them with a bunch of stuff. There was like some like Aunt Jemima's syrup in
Yeah.
there, which we all know will last forever. A little
Oh,
bit of
yeah.
that stuff, and to kind of like put in some moisture, a little bit of water, some spices and stuff, and kind of had that all mixed up. And then I actually cooked them in the oven of the cook stove, because we had like the really big snowstorm that we
Yeah.
were riding out
Exactly.
there, and so those grouse were unreal.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
pretty cool for sure.
Dude, that sounds like a time. I could taste it right now.
Yeah, no, it was pretty fun. I enjoyed myself, but that was definitely a high for me when it comes to cooking meat.
Oh, dude, good stuff, man. Yeah, I love the whole kicking side of it, dude. I think that actually like continues to push me down in it. And by no means am I a chef or anything like that, but I just enjoy a good meal here and there. And it's fun too when you got the little bit of extra time to like put into like a proper dinner or all of this different stuff. And yeah, and kind of get into it. So it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. And I think the game meat just continues to there's so many different variations of yeah, you can use it just like you can with beef, right? And I think people don't really think of that, right? It's like, oh, you think of, yeah, you got your steaks or you got that, but it's like exactly what you're saying. It's like, okay, your lasagnas, your cat and I always, or my wife and I always like to make like homemade pasta with like an elk sauce and like all this different stuff. It's like you can do all of these different things and use it just like you would anything else. So which I think a lot of people don't think of. It's like a special thing, and it's like, dude, any recipe that you cook up can be good if you do it with the same type of meat, right? So it's
Yeah, no,
special, man.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of good ones. I know I was actually just chatting with a chef the other day. He was going down the whole thing with like the tartars and all this stuff too, and I'm like, now I got to learn some of those techniques, dude. I got to get into some of those meals because those sounds real good. We're still basic out here, and we're doing things with the crock pot, same type of thing, and a lot of different stuff. My buddy does like a lot of like he does like a bear bourguignon, which is like really really incredible. It just falls off the bone, or an ossobuco or stuff like this, and it's like, dude, those things are like freaking good, so freaking good. But anyways, man, I love it. Big fan of the cooking. And I gotta learn more into it. So well, Reece, so you're heading off to Chile here tomorrow. What's kind of the yeah, what's your program? You're obviously training. I know you mentioned it kind of a couple. So this is one of two camps that you're going to be heading out on, right? So you're out there for a couple weeks, or what does that all look like?
Yeah, 2 weeks down in Chile,
Okay.
flying to Santiago,
Yeah.
and then we're going to El Colorado, which is just in the mountains east of there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'll be really good, skiing at really high elevation. So the snow doesn't look super great, but we should be able to make something work. And yeah, no, it should be all right. But yeah, going to be there until the start of September, and then back for about 2 weeks, and that'll kind of start off my hunting season.
Sweet. Yeah, I was just about to say you're going to be back right for the start of deer season here. Oh yeah, did you guys make any plans since the last time we chatted? I know last time it was like, oh yeah, maybe Jesse and I will kind of make something happen, but anything set in stone since the last time we chatted?
Well, Jesse's going out first week of rifle season
Yeah.
with his wife there. A bit of a like anniversary kind of
Cool.
goat hunt and stuff like that out in the
Sweet.
Kootenays. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be, yeah, I'm not too sure really. I'd like to chase some elk there with the bow. So we'll see what happens, or at least help some guys that are doing that too. But either way, we'll be staying busy, and if not, I've got lots of stuff going on too that I'll be working out and stuff like that.
I love it, man. I love it. So, dude, I'm just still have my eyes set on this float hunt that we're getting into here, kind of like end of September. But I'm trying to squeeze one thing in probably before that. So, I was having the chat with the wife the other day, and she was long story short, I think I have a couple more days to play with this year than I typically do.
Awesome.
So excited to get after something, and who knows, maybe do something in the early season and try to get after a velvet deer or something like that would be pretty epic still. So,
And what are the target animals on the float hunt there?
dude, so have I told you about that hunt at all or?
You might have mentioned it, but not to much extent.
Oh yeah, well, dude, this is like my I'm real stoked, long story short. And also too, I'm stoked in the sense too where well, it's just gonna be a little different. Like we're filming it, but I'm gonna be in front of the camera this time, mostly because I really want a good crack at at a bugling bull. So we have two things that we're going after. We have a group of 4 hunters total. Myself, my buddy Justin or Grizz, Jordan Kowalchuk, and our buddy Hayden. So kind of 4 guys that are going to be making the trek out up north. And long story short, man, the idea first stemmed. I saw this one video, and I've always had this dream of like hunting up in Spatsizi. I've always wanted to do it, and it's mostly because my buddy went up there, did this beautiful fly fishing video. And I'm like, man, that's a gorgeous country. Obviously, looked into the regs, all this stuff, and there's a lot of opportunities up there. Um, but long story short, that's kind of what stemmed it. I'm like, okay, frick, this is the year where we're doing the Spatsizi hunt. We're not hunting Spatsizi. I wish we were, but we're not. We kind of started going down the train a little bit, and looking into different zones and all of this different stuff. And yeah, we just realized that there's a lot of pressure and different things like that up there, and wanted to get into something where hopefully no one touches really. Like obviously everywhere people have been, but trying to get us as far away from people as possible. And we found like this like remote river, and I should say that Jordan and Justin were putting in the most amount of footwork in regards to Google Earth and all the different mappings and all that stuff. And they found like this super sweet stretch, man. And long story short, it's like you wouldn't really fly a plane in there. It doesn't really make sense, and it's too shallow for a jet boat. And the only real way in is just hiking these pack rafts on your back for an obscene amount of kilometers and getting them on into the zone, and then obviously doing the float from there. And it's between like a call it a 30 to 50K kind of type of mission. So it'll be pretty sweet. And so that's the mission, man. And long story short, went in there originally with the mindset of like, okay, we're going to get after elk and it's going to be an elk trip. And then last minute, Justin's like, okay, Hayden and I are actually going to throw in for a moose draw as well. And they ended up pulling out a moose draw out of that zone too. So we're excited, man. So the first couple days, the program is going to be like, and then we're heading out for like close to like, I want to say like 2 weeks type of things. Like we'll be out there for a minute too. And yeah, dude, we're really stoked. The first couple days is going to be obviously first of all getting into the river. Like it's going to be a mission to hike into that thing, and then we'll be in there and figuring out our things, and then going after moose for the first couple days. Obviously, if there's a screaming bull, we're going to get into an elk too. But then after that, hopefully the first couple days we get into moose, and then after that it's all elk kind of for the rest of it. So we're really excited, man. It's going to be yeah, we obviously got high hopes. Everyone's carrying tags, so that would be absolutely wild if we were able to pull out a couple bull elk and maybe a moose. Like our backs are going to be dead, and we're going to have a time and a half doing it. So
For sure. Yeah, that sounds rough. You know, you're gonna have all your gear plus the pack raft going all the
yeah,
way in. So definitely gonna
yeah.
start off the trip heavy.
But yeah, definitely, man. So we've been doing a lot of things. I told you I ran my first ultra marathon a couple of weeks ago. So we've been putting in the miles, putting in a bunch of different things, and getting in shape for it for sure. But yeah, dude, I don't think however well prepared you are for that, it's going to be a slog.
Oh yeah.
Like it's going to be a slog, and we're going to be, especially too, like we have even like different points where we're like, okay, hey, if we get a moose down, okay, we're gonna hike it out to here, and we'll like maybe like we're gonna bring up a couple quads or stuff like that, and we're just gonna stash them and be like, okay, we'll hike it out however many kilometers to the quad, and then we can like do that type of thing. So it's a journey, man. There's a lot of logistics. The boys got freaking spreadsheets out for this one. Jordan's going full like weighing calories and doing the whole thing just as if we were sheep hunting or doing whatever. And boys are freeze drying meals and doing the whole nines. But it's gonna be pretty epic, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And I don't know. It's going to be one of those where there's going to be a heck of a lot of fun while we're out there, but there's also going to be a lot of type 2 fun too, where it's like, dude, we're just like exactly what you said, the amount of gear, a couple weeks worth of food and everything, and a pack raft and your bow and everything else kind of hiking into that. And then that's not even if you get anything down. Right. So it's going to be a slog, but we're prepared for it, man. And we're ready to go.
Oh, for sure. And you're gonna have to be really careful with bow and inflatable rafts.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
asking for trouble for sure.
Oh, big time. So yeah, man, we're looking, there's a lot of things. I think there's going to be some Jimmy rigging and some good stories regardless, man. So I'm excited to chat about that one, especially after that happens. That's happening kind of like late September, early October, kind of in those windows. So hoping, trying to just hit where we can, also work with everyone's schedules to make it happen. But yeah, that'll be pretty special, man. Like I said, but there will be a lot of, I kind of imagine there's going to be one, it's not going to be if things go wrong. It's going to be like how many things go wrong, and then how do you adapt and obviously fix those things, right? So we're excited. We got a bunch of rafts from Stakeen that they're lending out to us. So excited to get in those things and hopefully just fill them to the brim and just kind of get her going. But I don't know, man. I've never done the float stuff. Like I've never touched the floats. I've been fascinated by it. Obviously I've touched it a little bit in the fishing side of things, but never in a hunting scenario. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Are you
Really
guys
looking forward
expecting to get everything in there on one go, or you have to do
like,
some trips?
well, we're get everything in there in one go. But everything out is going to be a couple for sure. So we'll see. Maybe we can get everything in there in one. That would be awesome. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Are these going to be like single rafts, or are they like larger?
We went for
rafts?
the big boys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was chatting with the guys over at Stakeen, just trying to figure out the best rafts for this trip. I don't remember the model name, but it is like kind of like that, kind of like larger hunt specific one. And we even have like a 2-man raft and stuff like that too for different gear and all of this stuff too. Luckily, the river's not like too crazy. It's not like we're going through like big white water and stuff like that. It's pretty slow moving, which hopefully should be good on the hunting side of things, especially. But yeah, no, like I said, it'll be a lot of figuring out.
Oh yeah, no doubt, for sure.
We're even trying to figure out like the little logistics of like bringing waiters and like things like that too, because we're like, hey, there's a lot of spots that we're gonna like need to be portaging and all of this stuff. Like it will be a journey, man. Like it's not going to be easy. Nothing about this trip is easy.
Yeah.
And I think that's also what fascinates us, because we're like, who else would be as much of an idiot to like make this happen? And that's why we're like, I don't really expect to I would be shocked if we see some other people. Because once again, like I said, like the zone's just kind of out there. And then you also have to be like willing to just break your back for a couple weeks and like do it, and then hopefully get something down, and then break your back 10 times bringing that crap out, right? So it's gonna be a journey, man, and we're really looking forward to it. But anyways, that's the big moose elk float with those 4 gentlemen. And yeah, man, like I said, we're really stoked. We're going in with the bows, which will be another thing that somehow I convinced those guys. They were all really hard on the rifles, and I'm like, well, let's just bring out a bow. We'll have like a couple rifles, obviously, just for grizzly protection and things like that more than anything. But for the most part, hopefully some arrows will be flying into some moose and into some elk. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be an epic for sure. So we're looking forward to it. But I'm trying to squeeze in like maybe a deer trip or something right before it, just to really get the legs moving a little bit more. And like I said, we have been running and doing everything else and doing some rucks and crap like that. But be nice. But hey, I also ain't no Olympian, so um, I'm not going for time here. I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
going for getting the job done. But I ain't going for time.
yeah, no. I'm excited to hear how it ends up all working out and stuff like that. It sounds like a pretty sick expedition you guys got planned, but also nice to be able to do with like a group of 4 guys. Like, if
Definitely.
even if in that case too, like if somebody ends up getting soared up or something like that, the other guys can kind of help out and take the load a little bit and move things around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And also too, man, like with that group, it's like, dude, like obviously we're in there to get stuff hitting the dirt. And obviously we're in there to fill some freezers. Like that's the goal. Hands down. We're trying to fill freezers with this trip. But we're also just a bunch of goofballs that love having a great time. And it's like, dude, like even throughout, we're filming the whole thing. So it's actually going to be a film as well, coming under Fargone. And long story short, it's like the one thing that I've just been chatting with all the sponsors and stuff like that is like camaraderie, banter, like just like all of these different things are kind of like more of like the touch point of what we're expecting, as opposed to like, um, yeah, dude, we're not hardos. We're not hardos. And like I said, we're not going for speed here. We're going to get the job done. We're going to hopefully get into a couple animals and do that. So it'll be a blast. And I'm really excited for the crew that we're going with and everything along those lines too. So frick, man, I wish it was tomorrow. I wish it was tomorrow. Like I'm like jonesing. I'm like getting ready. I'm like shooting the bow like crazy, just feeling real dialed, being like doing all the scenarios too of like, okay, holding. Like I'm like having little timers out, being like I got to hold for like a minute and then let the arrow go. Like just trying to like do all of the realistic situations and just trying to play as many different things and to obviously set ourselves up for success. So it's gonna be a blast, man. It's gonna be a freaking blast.
for sure, definitely.
Well, Reece, dude, well, that sounds, yeah, we're doing it, man. What are we, an hour, 12 minutes in this thing already? So maybe we'll wrap her up. But, dude, so have a great time in Chile. That's going to be an absolute blast. And, dude, and hey, maybe we'll get one out there while you're out there. If not, I'll pull somebody else on and we'll shoot here next week and just keep things ripping over here. Podcast number 3. So we're doing it. We're committed now.
Oh yeah, we're making it happen now.
We're making it happen. So awesome, Reece. Hey, well, thanks for as always for chatting and looking forward to hearing how Chile goes.
Perfect. All right. Well, all the best, Nolan. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon on the next one.
All right, talk to you. Bye.